Whiskey Web and Whatnot with your kind of hosts, Robbie the Wagner and usually Chuck, but not today. Yeah, he might be here later. He's having some technical difficulties, but Adam has helped us host before, so we're set. Yeah, so we do have two special guests today. We've got Adam Argyle and David East from the Bad at CSS podcast. What's going on, guys?
Yo, guest appearance! Wow, dude, you show up late and fancy, dang, dude. You show up late and fancy, dang, dude.
And we can hear ourselves through your thing, so we can go echo.
Yeah, it's like an infinity mirror, but with audio.
Yeah, I don't know how to change things where you actually hear me and I hear you and all of that stuff. This is the crux of the problem. I know how to change it. I can't change it, and some people are impatient. So here we are.
Well, some people have
punctual is another word.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna hear ourselves the whole time, it's not gonna work. So
Okay, well, I mean, this is the next
yeah, you sound good. You look fine, but the echo is brutal.
Yeah.
Well, then I don't know. You guys enjoy, I guess. I'm gonna keep working on this.
Pop back in if you get it figured in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or out.
Yeah, that as well. So,
All right, so let's just start that over. What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey Web and Whatnot. Yeah, because it'll be hard to edit that part out. So yeah, Chuck might be here, he might not. We got Adam and David. Yeah, do you want to tell the folks at home a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, David, go first.
Oh, I go first. You're the one who always runs down the intro. Okay, I usually just go ride the wave from your intros, and so now I'm gonna be like, so we have a podcast, and there's CSS in it. It's not good. Really not good. Yeah, Adam and I run a podcast called the Bad at CSS Podcast because we deeply believe in our hearts, minds, and souls that we're all really bad at CSS. Though with Adam, he's always like, "Oh, I'm so bad," and then you look at his code and you're like, "Okay, thanks for that. I'm gonna go
Look at my site. You'd be like, "This is a mess. He didn't use Tailwind."
But yeah, so yeah, Adam and I have been running the Bad at CS podcast almost a year now. I don't really know. I don't know. And it's been good. Adam, you do the I don't do the intro thing. Adam, you do the intro.
Sorry. Oh man, David rules. Lots of intelligence, and he's just a very multi-talented individual. Like, you got to check out all the work he's done on Firebase. He's written multiple libraries. He's a fantastically kind of like. He does design and he does dev, and he doesn't just do dev or design. He's like really deep on all these things, probably a little deeper than me on multiple pillars, which is kind of fun because I feel like I'm kind of multi-headed dragon also, but you're over there. You got like some deeper, bigger dragon heads on the end of your necks. This is getting weird.
I mean, that dragon at the end, he's like, you know, there's like the strong dragons, and then the one that's like, oh, that's how I feel, at least.
Oh, they're always the hero of the story, though. You're going to underestimate that dragon. You know, it's going to show up and it's going to have superpowers in the end. That's just like, I had all the powers of all the dragons this whole time. I just looked stupid. Anyway, my name is Adam. I'm on the Bad at CSS podcast also. And we sometimes it's topical, sometimes we have guests. Ultimately, it's about like empathizing with what we don't know, embracing what we don't know, and kind of the more we learn we don't know. And it's like reveling in that fact. And I also work on the Chrome team. David and I are both at Google, and but just kind of weirdo public outward devs. You know, like we're devs that, he's on IDX now, which is a pretty slick little code editor. There's a whole bunch of code editors in the cloud space right now. There's like a battle royale happening.
You can get your season pass. I don't know actually anything about battle royale. I don't play, so but that sounded smart, and I was like, let me take that back before I'm deeply out of my element here.
Yeah. So I do have an important question for you guys. And I don't know if you've covered this on the podcast or if it's intentional, but did you intentionally choose Bad at CSS because you can't spell it without badass?
No, that was a total accident.
But it was a benefit. I
Yes.
can't lie. Like I told it to my wife, who's very good at catching all of the things I say, like grunt and gulp, and she's like, "That's gross." She's just like really good. I'm just like too in the weeds and can't notice it. So I was like, yeah, we're thinking about calling it the Bad at CSS podcast. She goes, kind of sound like you said badass, which is kind of badass. And I was like, it is badass.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the name came up with like where it's like, what? Oh, you have to film. What's it called? And you're like, it's the Bad at CSS podcast. Yes. And you're like, and now it's like the band name where you're stuck with it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, so we are going to get into the CSS 2. What I called it CSS 2 truths and a lie. We played 2 truths and a lie before, where it's like you say 2 true things about yourself and a lie, and you have to decide which one's the lie. But right before we jump into that, I do want to mention we have free tickets to All Things Open, which is in Raleigh at the end of the month.
Ooh.
So gonna drop that link in the chat if anyone wants some tickets. Anyway, back
Very
to
cool.
the show. Yeah, so do you want to hit me with a couple of, or I guess
You ready?
3
What about
CSS
whiskey? Shouldn't we
things?
rate? Shouldn't we sip some whiskey or
You wanna
something
do that
first? I mean, we can.
Okay, all right. We
I mean, we
whiskey
can
first.
reverse the order. Y'all usually do it in the beginning, state your tentacles and give it a little
listen,
flavor
Chuck
note.
does the whiskey. He's not here. I don't know how it works. Yeah, we've got.
He's probably watching right now, just all sad.
We have the Catoctin Creek Ragnarok Rye Whiskey, which is a partnership with some band. It probably says on
Got to
here.
be Tenacious D. I mean, it seems like Tenacious
I
D.
don't think so. Does everyone have the same top?
Yes, the top.
The top is very cool. Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh yeah, yours is a little different, I think.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so we have
Oh,
horns.
yours
and
is
you
different.
have, like some kind of monster.
You got like a dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a bunch of different tops. So
That's cool. I'm
Yeah, so-
I'm struggling to decork mine. I don't want to break the head. I don't want to break the head on it.
yeah. So we've got.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
This is 92 proof. It's 100% rye, aged with white oak, sugar maple, and cherry wood, and finished in rum casks, and is certified kosher. If you care about that in your whiskey.
Oh yeah, that's sweet, sweet sound.
Oh.
I came prepared today with like a little bit of like purified water to drip in there, multiple glasses
Ooh.
so that I can try different styles. Just poured it over some peach fresca
Wow.
in case I need a tasty sip.
Nice. All right, yeah. So we just give it a sniffy sniff and a little bit of a sip. Whatever comes to mind is totally fine and correct. So let us know what you think. Let's see.
I do
I
like it.
smell strawberry fruit by the foot.
Taste
And-
alcohol.
Yeah,
alcohol's
definitely some
there.
of that in there.
Yeah.
Maybe some hibiscus.
Ooh.
Smells
Maybe
a little like whiskey.
bean burritos. No, I'm just kidding. Not that one. Oh, all right. Let's see.
I like all your fun candy references. I'm like a mamba. Should we just go through 90s candies that make us happy?
All right. Let's see what it tastes like. Ooh, does not taste like it smells. A lot spicier.
It is definitely on the spicy side of the flavor profile. I like the way that it's like coating the outer sides of my tongue with the spice. It's kind of fun.
I'm like, so, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm like it's alcohol and I have a fancy glass.
I'm ready
Let's
for my
talk about
review.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Imagine a whiskey that's aged in European oak casks that once held a rare sherry. The initial nose is a delicate ballet of citrus zest, particularly grapefruit and blood orange, dancing with subtle hints of peat smoke. On the palate, the flavors evolve into a complex pear and apricot are intertwined with the gentle warmth of toasted oak and a touch of sea salt. The finish is lingering and elegant, leaving a final impression of dried figs and a subtle hint of clove spice. This is a whiskey that invites contemplation, a liquid poem of complexity and sophistication.
Nice. Did you come up with that on the spot?
Oh, dude, just right off the dome right now. Yeah, just like a freestyle. It's totally not Gemini. I mean, that was not. I mean, that was me.
Nice. That was very very.
So
well
beat
put.
that, David. I guess.
Smell some dirt. No, I'm just kidding. I did saw this guy did this whiskey review once, and he was like, "Yeah, it has some dirt in it," and I was like, "Because that's bad," and he was like, "And it's good," and I was like, "The dirt is good." We
Which
like the
dirt? You know?
Yeah. He's like, "It's a nice dirty taste," and I was like,
Yeah,
I don't
not sure
know.
what you mean by that, but
yeah, it's dirt, But this is actually what I think. I kind of wish I would have done because I have some English stir upstairs. I wish I just kind of live made an old fashioned with this, and in my freezer, yes, because you all were wondering, I do have cubed rocks with Tears of the Kingdom logo on it from a box my daughter has. So yes,
It's
that
like
have been
dragon
in there.
tears to use in your whiskey. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I'm pretty sure those ice cubes have been in there for 6 months. So I imagine the flavor that's coming out
Great,
of that
yeah.
old fashioned would be fantastic. But I would want to drink an old fashioned with this one because it has a nice spice to it, and I find that when you have a kind of very sugary bourbon forward old fashioned, it's a little thick and it's a little too desserty for me, where it's almost it tastes like you're drinking a port, whereas this has that nice rye spice to it, and I would greatly enjoy this in an old fashioned. At least I think so. I think that you could get a nice balance with this. So that's kind of what I think is, if you're a person that if you go out, and you order old fashioned and you say hey, I want it with rye, I think this could work really well because it does. The spice is definitely there.
yeah, you'll have to report back. You can make one later on and let us know.
Yeah, with the the Tears of the Kingdom cubes, that's a requirement.
Yeah. So we do have a very complex rating system on this podcast. It is 0 to 8 tentacles, and 0 is the worst you've ever had. You don't want to drink any more of it, throw it out. 8 is this is the best ever. Just get rid of everything else in the house. Only drink this. And a 4 is middle of the road. Fine. Just meh, I guess. Yeah. So
Oh.
we'll have Chuck go first.
Perfect. I'm here.
Ooh.
Do you hear yourselves?
Oh, yeah.
Is this?
I don't
You're
think I hear
boosted.
myself.
Yeah, you are boosted, man. You sound.
So I
booming.
can drop the boom.
I don't
Oh,
know.
there you go.
I
can
felt
drop
like
Drop
you
the
needed
bomb
to-
on it too.
You needed
Presence
Okay.
was good.
I needed some
Yes,
audiobooks from
I'm
that-
back.
from
This
that
episode
boom.
is
outer
sponsored
space.
by Rode firmware updates.
Yeah, which are very serious. Okay, what's up now? Am I
Hey, the
freezing?
gang's all here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. You already talked about the whiskey and tried it
We
out.
just drank it, and I
well,
explained the rating
it's your
system, and
turn.
you joined, so I was like, hey, it's
Yep.
Chuck's turn to tell
All
us
right.
his rating.
I rate this a 10 out of 8 because I just got here. I rate the lid really high.
Yeah,
Did I
the
say that?
lid gets its.
The lid is pretty sick. Okay.
I'm getting Doom vibes off the label hard. He's got a chainsaw, some sort of badass backpack. He's going through winter-covered lands into the depths of Satan's hell. That sounded weird, but anyway, it's pretty. It's cool.
Excellent. Let's see here. I'm gonna take a little gander. I do like the picture. It's 100% rye. I have no idea on aging time. It's finished, so that sounds cool.
Oh, so he is the
From-
whiskey guy.
Yeah,
This is the thing.
Yeah, I am the whiskey guy, I guess. That's called alcoholism. I know it was rum finished. It was aged in some other stuff. It's from Virginia, so it's probably
It
terrible.
says you have Riverside open in
these
other
are
tabs.
Fighting words.
Chuck, you need to
Oh.
close the other ones.
Ooh, that might have been the echo on the OG scenario.
Oh, it wasn't.
I don't think so.
Definitely
Rode
wasn't. We
does
had
that.
this problem before. It's when it's streamer mode versus gaming mode, and whether it shares the audio from your computer
Yeah.
or not.
Which is
So that's
super
why-
annoying that there's not a switch, a physical switch for that.
No, super. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna taste it. See what I think.
You won't.
I just put 2 drops of water in mine to see what that does.
Interesting. So I've had a
Catoctin.
Cato.
I've had this before. It was
Yeah,
alright.
we had their hot honey one, which was
hot honey.
surprisingly tasted just like hot honey.
Yeah. I've had a couple.
This episode brought to you by Mike's Hot Honey. That's on my desk right now.
Have you had the extra hot honey yet?
No.
They're
Dang it.
extra hot also.
Ooh.
It's a little much for me. I like the regular hot honey on some pizza though. Yeah, this is pretty easy. I think you put honey in my mind. I get a little bit of maple syrup on that.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably from the rum though, influencing some sweetness there, some spice, some sweet.
When I put the drips of water in there, it really brought out the kind of candied scents and
Pecans.
flavors. Yeah.
Candy pecans. Yeah, it really evokes fall for me in the flavors. So that's kind of cool.
Very fair. Yes. Pumpkin spicy worthy
Not
mixer or just,
obnoxious.
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
weird and obnoxious, so kind of dig that. I like it so far. I'm probably going to give it somewhere around a 6. That's my safe and like above average. I don't know, 5.5. I'm going to say for now 5.5 is where I'm going with it.
All right. Yeah. Whoever wants to go next, I don't know.
I'm ready. I'm going to give
right.
it a 6, which I was prepared to do. It's yummy. I like the spice. I like the heat in my chest. I like the way that it's resting on my tongue. It doesn't feel too sweet, which I tend to dislike if something is kind of, I don't know, just syrupy in some way. And this is able to like get a kind of, a good maple syrup kind of vibe with a lot of spice and but a nice finish. It's not gooey. I like it. Yeah, 6, maybe more, 6.5. I like it.
You could grow into it.
I would agree that I would give it like a 6, but I like I was saying before you joined, Chuck, is that I see this being very good for an old fashioned because I'm a big fan of rye and old fashioned instead of bourbon because you get yourself a really nice, you get that nice spice palette. Whereas bourbon's already sugary, and then if you get like sugar on top of sugar, it just can be a little too like I was saying, it's like a port wine. This I think could really bring out like a good old fashioned drink. Like I feel like this would bring some heat with that, and you need some burn with an old fashioned, and this could supply that. So I think I would give this a 6, but I'm definitely going to give a nice little mix some later. Get some simple syrup in this bad boy with some Angostura,
Okay. Yeah.
and I think it'll be good.
You and your proper Glencairn there. Very nice.
Yeah, that's what it's called. I forgot. Yes, I'm
The
like
Glencairn.
I like to refer to
It's
it
a
as
whiskey glass.
the swoop-de-doo. It's a swoop-de-doo.
Swoop
Because
glass.
Swoop-de-doo.
it starts to swoop and then it doos. So those are, I know you're into this, but you're not at my level, so you don't know
yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually what we.
Well, that's why I'm so glad to have you on, so that you can help me
That's what I
kind
do.
of improve my whiskey and drinking knowledge.
Yeah.
And so there's that.
Well, yeah.
Well-
I've been listening to your podcast, and you've been taking.
You've been very confused, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm just like, what are these terms? These are not what we
Yeah.
call them in the biz.
I don't even know that. I don't know what the
Yeah.
terms
Oh,
are.
true.
Yeah.
I do know
Speaking
that-
of things we don't know anything about,
Yeah.
let's do some.
Oh, you ready for the game?
CSS
He's
properties,
stoked, man.
yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
Yes.
He didn't even do his rating. Did you do your rating?
Oh, Robbie didn't do
Gasp.
a
No.
rating.
Oh, I didn't do mine. I'm gonna give
Yeah.
it a 5. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
It's a 5. Fuck it. Moving on. All right.
Let's do some CSS. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
All right, I came up with a couple, and I have some good ones and some less
All
good
right.
ones, but I want Adam to go first because
yeah, same. I have
he's
some good ones, some less good ones.
What
All
if you
right.
guys have
So
the same ones.
then that's just how in sync we are. Our cycles are the same, and we're conjuring the same quiz questions. That's just how aligned we are. We're place centered together with our display grid life. That got weird also. Okay. All right. Which of these properties is not real in CSS? Interpolate size, text shadow offset, or content visibility?
I'm not
Well, I know
kidding you.
content
What
visibility is real.
I'm going to say text shadow offset.
That one does sound oddly specific.
Yeah.
but
I'm calling bullshit on that.
yeah, I'll agree with that.
Ding, ding, ding. You guys got it right. Well done.
I'm not kidding
Expertise.
you. One of mine was text shadow offset.
Good thing I went first, sucker.
Oh
You
my
got to
God.
adapt.
That was my easy one.
Yeah, that's some beginner shit. I also don't know. Still completely guessed on. So,
Hey, excellent deducing. All right, you want me to go again, David? Or are you up? Yeah.
All right, I'll go with one. All right. I'm gonna go instead of property. We're gonna go with values. Okay.
Okay.
So there is a new value ish to us. It's new. To Adam, it's very old. It's the text wrap property. Okay.
mm-hmm.
In the text wrap property, there are a few values you can provide it. Which one is the fake one? You can give text wrap, no wrap, balance, even, pretty, or stable. Which one is not the real one?
I'm gonna say rap. Sounds too straightforward.
I'm going to say stable. Stable? White
No,
space?
Is it stable?
Wrong.
No. Okay.
Stumped
You
ya.
wanna-
Damn.
You want to fill him in on that?
Oh, I mean, sure. If you're, throw me. I got this.
You're the one
Even
who-
was the.
That's the one. Where I was
bullshit
like,
one?
Even was the bullshit one. Yeah. Balance is
Even's
when
like
it's going to
stable.
add line breaks to make a block. Pretty is when it makes sure that there's no like orphans or widows. So there's no kind of cliff. There's no dingleberries on your paragraph. And stable is what you can add to a text box area or like a text area that you're or a content editable thing. And that way, while someone's typing, it will resist and sort of do its best to maintain stability for the user so that while they're typing, shit isn't moving around. And then wrap and no wrap are regular values for, I mean, you do no wrap whenever you don't want it. And then wrap is the opposite. And yep.
Rap and no rap.
Yeah.
Pretty is kind of bullshit because it's just a subjective word to a degree, right? Like,
that's
Totally.
That's actually why I picked this one, because I was like, they're either going to say pretty, or then they're going to do what Robbie did and be like, I bet you one of the obvious ones isn't it. And I was like, even is one that no one's going to think is like a problem.
Right.
They're going to be like, text balance even. That sounds right.
sure, make it even.
But
Yeah,
it
even
wasn't.
Every line.
even and stable both sound kind of similar.
Right?
I heard them talk about these on syntax one time, but
Ah,
like
okay, yeah.
I didn't remember the specifics. So I was like, I've never told it like, you know what, just rap, please. like I feel like I've done like, what is it, like word break or like for like the other rap property, whatever. I always
Oh,
forget what
there's
they are.
some
I have to look
silly
them up.
ones. Yeah.
Like
So you can end up with like the little ellipses at different times or whatever. I don't know. Isn't
Well,
that
That's,
hard?
yeah.
like a dash, but then yeah, the truncate thing, like the truncate lines thing that you can't do without like CSS properties that are like deprecated. I forget what they are, but it's like
Yeah,
you
that's
write
line
them in your
clamp. Dude,
editor,
that's-
and it's
that's
like,
interrupt
don't
this
do
year.
that.
Because you have to make it, you can't do it on a div. You have to do it on a text node or a paragraph. It's WebKit box, overflow hidden, text overflow ellipsis. It's like this combo of junk that, and it also
Yeah.
is like kind of like gradient text where it has to be in a specific order. There's actually a couple of scenarios on the web where order of your properties matter because it's looking for a specific old piece of bullshit that people have been writing for 20 years, and it makes sure that if it recognizes that chunk of junk, the chunk of junk, that it renders it as people have expected for all these years. And yeah, it's ridiculous. Line clamp is coming out though, and that is, you can literally say line dash clamp one, and it will clamp the paragraph to one line and ellipse on the end. One property, easy values, and you can even do height. So you could say the height is 200 pixels, and it will automatically find how many lines can go in there and ellipse the last one. So it's about to be easy. We're about to escape that 20-year-old
Well, that's nice.
20-year-old turd. Yeah.
Turd. Well, when do we get to escape that turd? Next time I actually have to do that, hopefully.
Hopefully. Oh yeah, or make it progressive enhancement or something. Yeah.
Something
I have to go get my son who just woke up, so we're gonna do the next 5 minutes or so without me. We'll just keep going in and out.
Feels
Chuck
so
and I will.
empty without me.
Whoa. Wife
like
swap.
Yeah. So BRB.
Yeah.
This is like the
There we
musical
go.
chairs
Yeah,
edition.
we just jump
of-
in and out of
yeah.
all episodes. You didn't realize that? Like, we actually don't tend to do too many of them completely together. It's because we haven't gotten along in years, and it's just awkward, but we keep this thing going. And I don't know, So like, I tried to steal Adam to replace him, and then Robbie's like, "I know what you're doing," and so we quiz things. We can do a couple of hot takes. We can.
I'm impressed. The cap is actually metal. I thought it was going to be 3D printed or waxy or something. So I was like gentle with it earlier, but no, it's heavy and it's like lead. It's like they poured lead in like a real mold. It's super cool.
Yeah. As far as this bottle goes, are you a Guar fan?
I mean, I like watching them on YouTube. I don't know if I'd go. I'm a fan from afar. I'm a Guar afar fan because I don't want to get sprayed. I'm too big a wuss to actually go and get covered in whatever it is they're spraying on people.
That's true. Well, I just don't do concerts really anymore because they all start too late for me. And then beyond that, then the headliner is coming on much later. So it's like doors open at 7. Nobody comes on until 8:30. Now you see the first couple of people. Now your headliner's coming on at 11. I'm well past bedtime. I just can't fuck with that anymore.
I just got back from Argentina, like literally 2 days ago, and love Argentina. Love Argentina.
Oh man, it looked so sweet. That event looked awesome,
It
dude.
was.
I'm so jealous.
Awesome. I speak Argentine Spanish. Well,
nice.
it's a big country, so I speak Porteño Spanish.
Cool.
Rio Platense. But I am still very much a gringo, or as they would say, a Shanky, because they were like, yeah, we're going to do dinner at like 10. And I'm like, because the food is going to be available at 10, because before then we wouldn't eat, because that would be early.
Then you got to go do a full asado, right?
Yes,
we did.
Okay.
So,
yes,
and I was always
incredible.
the one they would give the sweetbreads to. I would have to tell them muy jugoso, because because like they have amazing meat that they cook well done though. And I'm like,
yes, they do. They cook it well done,
jugoso.
but it's very good.
It's incredible. It's inexpensive. I'm a big fan. I used to go down there all the time for work when I was with Nat Geo. So working with nearshore teams, and
it is. It's like they're like the country of like crazy wildlife. You got Tierra del Fuego, Patagonia, with Aconcagua, like mountain. It's a big Izagu Falls. It's like a massive country full of tons of cool stuff
too. Did you have a lot of Fernet con Coca?
Yes, I mean you have to. One must. We went up to this WeWork in downtown Buenos Aires, and right next to the Obelisco, which looks just like the Washington Monument, which everybody from the United States is like, what is the Washington Monument doing here? But it's the Obelisco. And so
turns out we didn't invent those. Did you know that the United States of America didn't invent the obelisk?
I don't think it's true, actually. I think George Washington did.
He did. He built his own monument before dying.
That's what he
was like, I've got this covered.
I was there.
Yeah.
And it brick by brick, good old George.
Good old George.
That's how he died. He
Jorge,
was out in the rain.
In Argentina.
As they commonly call him there. We were like on the 30 some odd floor of this WeWork, and it's Buenos Aires is like the New York City of South America, and just huge city, super like late, like city never sleeps, and I had to have like a Fernet and Coke as you're like staring out at this like complete panorama, like ceiling to floor windows of the city, and like I'm just like face against the glass, like walking around, and everyone's trying to talk to me, and I'm like, no, I gotta look at this. This is so freaking cool.
Yeah, I'm like, check this out. Have a beverage.
So I had to, and then did an asado, went to a parrilla, did all the good Argentine or Argentinian. Argentinian is how you describe the culture. An Argentine or an Argento is the person from Argentina. Or you can say someone's an Argentine.
You are quite. You're like a gaucho.
I definitely not a gaucho. No.
You need that beret, and you carry a knife for your meat, and
I sleep. I have a sleep 8 bed. Do you think I'm sleeping outside making my own like coffee on the thing with a knife? I don't.
We're jumping way ahead on the whatnot then, so I know what we can get into because.
Oh, there we go. I am not.
Oh, for
a
sure.
gaucho.
I'm all about like I like the outdoors, but I don't understand people who camp and if they don't have to because they like.
Robbie and I were just talking about this.
You create a vacation where you have to go do a bunch of work. You don't
Yes.
have
Fajitas.
a
You have to make your own
tenth
tacos. You're very against that.
Well, yeah. Well, fajitas are assembly. Yeah. So you could see if like I'm on vacation, I don't want to put my bed together and make sure like bugs don't eat me, and a bear is definitely going to get me in there, right? Like if I'm in a cabin, bear can't get in a cabin, or at least a much better chance that's not going to happen. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm like, yeah, go out, enjoy the outdoors, and then go back and have a nice cozy place to sleep. Have a little glass of wine around a fire that the resort put together for you.
I don't know. Some of the best sleep I've ever had was laying on the ground in the middle of the woods while you're just completely exhausted,
Yeah.
and then you get woken up by a random noise, and then you're like, you know what? I'm so tired. If it gets me, that's just it. It deserved it. It got me. It waited. It prayed, and that's just the circle of
Your
life.
fight or
I'm
flight
just-
instincts are a little off, I think.
No, that was just me. That was so tired that you're just
Yeah.
accepting that would just be it. And so I camped a lot in my younger days, and I agree with you. Like if I had to go camp now or take my children to go camping, they would not be able to. Nor would I would be able to. It would all be like fuzzy memory where you'd be like, I think that goes over there, and you would have to be like the dad pretending like you know what you're doing, but you're like
Yeah, that's what
20
we all do
years
anyway.
removed
Whether you
from
actually
doing
know
it.
what you're doing, we're all pretending anyway. And you always think you can fix the things too. You're like, kid brings you a toy and they're like, Daddy, fix it. It's like, all right, let me go out in the garage and see if I can tinker around here, put some glue on something, make it work.
Not me. I get a toy and I see it's broken, and I'm like,
Looks like I'm buying a new one.
Listen,
Yeah, the
unless that
store will
needs
sell us another one.
unless that's got a grid blowout, I am probably not going to be able to help with this one. Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Did we talk hot takes at all while I was gone?
We didn't. No, we started talking about Argentina and then went down that path. Racing. Oh shit! There we go.
Well,
Hey,
My
you're in.
headphones
You're good.
went gone for a second, and then they came back. They were like, "I'm upset." No, I'm okay. I don't know.
you know what else was gone for a second, but then came back?
Joe Mama,
jQuery.
Rails.
Rails.
Oh, Rails. Yeah. Hey, PHP went away.
Yeah,
Somehow it's
so
back now. It's back
First
now.
hot take:
Yeah.
Rails or Laravel?
I'm going to go with Laravel because I once had a job interview where they told me I was going to be building UI, front-end development, CSS, JavaScript. And then I had to write all this freaking Ruby in the job interview. None of it was JavaScript at all. Not a bit of it. And I'm literally looking at them, and then they're looking back at me like, huh? And I'm like, what the? I'm like, you said we
This
talked
is
about building
not at all.
we talked about styling a website in the last one, and this one's got Ruby, and now I've got to write a sorting algorithm that connects out to this AWS bucket through this Rails thing, and it was like the most embarrassing interview I've ever had, where the guy felt so bad for me that he kind of started talking me through the answer, because I think
Nice.
he didn't want that like dead air of like this
Yeah.
guy doesn't know what's going on. And so he was literally like, oh yeah, you know what it is. He was like, and I remember he was trying to talk about like the sorting algorithm. He's like, that one would be J to the K, and then K goes to the T. And I was literally like,
Oh
so
God.
where's the door of which I leave this
Yeah.
interview?
I'm at the point in
I'm not
my
getting this
career
job,
that I'm like,
right? Yeah.
I just say no. Like if someone asks me to do a thing like that, I'm like, nah, dog.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've been writing front end for so long. There's no way. I do not need a sorting algorithm. If I do, I npm install sorting algorithms. So like,
Right.
Anyway.
There you go.
So yeah,
What do you think,
that's
Adam?
I'd
my
probably choose
experience with
PHP.
Ruby. Yeah.
Even though I admire Ruby, I admire Rails in a lot of ways. And I've emulated multiple parts of their stack, especially Active Record seems to be one of their most
Yeah.
famous and well applied computer science concepts for data. I choose PHP because the last time I was writing it, I think it was like 4 or 5, and I was making classes and I was starting to explore it as a bigger language than I was capable of at the time. And then I haven't touched it since, but I remember a lot of it, just the language itself. And so I feel like if I was to go into Laravel, I'd feel a little bit more at home, and I'd be excited about what PHP is offering now. And I would sort of be like a kid in a candy shop. And then Flux looks cool, so I'd definitely give Caleb Porzio's UI library a shot. It's a stack I'd like to poke. Yep.
Yeah, now that you've both said PHP, let me announce our special secret guest, DHH, joining us right now. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think he'd have any shade about that, though. I think, like, it's
Best
another
tool for
bro
the
with
job
an
kinda guy.
older, like, with
Yeah.
He's a craft. Yeah, he's like, look, anybody can make a cool website. The stack isn't as important as someone understanding their tools and being passionate and spending the time to finesse the corners. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's batteries included. I think it follows a lot of his like ideologies around operating fast and not solving problems until you're actually faced with them and you have some success, right? Like, yeah, instead of like front loading scaling issues that may never occur.
Yep, that's never done well for me. It's one of those things that feels so good to do. You're like, I'm going to solve a problem before I have it. I'm just going to go ahead and stand on the shoulders of giants and trust that this entire thing is going to work for my case. And I'm just going to jump ahead to as if this thing is in a Megatron hosting provider. And then all you do is you're just like, why are there so many abstractions? I just want, solve the problems you have. I think that's the best tip. And to get something quickly, especially.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're being nice about both of those things, though. So Rails or Laravel. This is a funny one, though, Robbie, I guess. So when
Thank you.
When coding, Cursor or Pair AI?
Oh no, man, you're talking to the wrong one, man.
He's got an IDX shirt on, bro. Yeah, I'm
Talking
going
to
to
someone
touch
who
my
works for a
shirt just
code
thinking
editor.
about it. This is what I mean, though. There's a battle royale happening in this terms of like AI enhanced
All right.
code editors, especially
So-
ones built on VS Code. There's a bunch.
Here's my little hot take then. So IDX is IDX.dev for anyone listening, is code editor through Google, and it does AI stuff. Sure, yes, AI. I like AI stuff. I do lots of AI stuff. But one of the things that I think is most interesting about this guy right here is actually one little file that we ship with all of our workspaces. And like when I first started working at one job, they gave us a 60-page document to set up our work machine. And
Whoa.
the beautiful
It's a whole
thing-
week. It was a week of time, right? Yeah, you got a week to
Oh,
set
yeah.
up your dev and yeah.
Sure.
It was like a whole life, because what ended up happening was you had to set up all these dev machines, run all these installers, and like nothing ever worked. So then you would have to go and update the doc and then say, hey, like now it works this way. And so the next person who comes along, they're better off from you. But the problem is that here are X amount of developers all setting up a machine at different points in time, like through basically different instructions, and then we're all supposed to work on the same project. Like that did not go very well. So like every single time we would do anything, I'd be at someone's desk being like, I get this error, and they're like, no, I don't have that error. And our entire dev environment was completely different at all points in time. So with IDX, one of the things we do is we base our whole system off of Nix. Like Nix OS is an open source system that basically there are three tenets: is reproducibility, immutability, and declarative, I think. And so within there's a whole system where you say like, I want Python 3.13, I want Node 20, I want this one, I want that, and you declare it in a file, and then it builds it. And then everything is so immutable and declarative that when you rebuild your environment, we actually wipe your whole project partition clean, and then we just rebuild and throw everything down on there. So it's basically like a new function, immutable function call as an environment. And so anyone who has that file is like up to go. And I didn't know, this is past 5 for me, by the way, so I didn't think I would be doing like a work pitch while I'm drinking whiskey. But to me, my hot take is that I think that with this whole resurgence of AI editors, that we do focus a whole lot on AI, but AI is like takes you far from where you has the potential to like be your co-pilot and like work alongside you and help you with these plans. But like there's still so much work involved in like making sure like the foundation work that I don't think can be sort of forgotten about. Like just getting something spun up on a local machine. Like how many times have you been like, I want to try out that thing, and you don't, because you're like, okay, well, my version of this thing is different, and I need that to be the same for this other project to work on a machine, and I am not installing a version manager, and you know what?
Well,
I'm
you
just
should
gonna
install a version manager.
No, see, that's the thing that's beautiful about So like this, you don't need a version manager. You literally can create a new machine or rebuild or something like that, and then that's
Yeah.
less tooling, less overhead, less concept on the
But
machine.
then it's using a version manager.
It is actually using a versioned registry.
Oh, okay.
So the way Nix works is not just a operating system, but Nix also, this is something that took me like the longest time to understand with Nix, is that everything with Nix, and it's not like the longest time to understand because it's hard. It's because, like, it's one of those things you refuse to understand despite the amount of times people tell you this. So like with NPM, you can publish a package as a version, and then those packages granularly update. But NPM is a registry. Imagine if NPM was a version registry itself, and once you publish a package to that registry, that was it, and then you had to wait for another version of a registry of npm to come out for you to publish your package version. So the benefit there is that if you pin your registry into a Nix registry, you're basically saying, I can guarantee for everyone on my team that if you state this package name, you will get this package version. It's no like, oh, I pulled this down and it's some like, oh, this had a pure dependency of this and this had of that. And you get the cascading, madness with dependencies at times. And with Nix, it's not that way. It's each version of the registry. So that way you don't need version management tools. You just say, we talk to Nix version 23.11 or whatever.
So is this kind of like a container level registry then? So you kind of like think about a container, each container version has its own registry version, and so just everything comes with that, like environment version to a degree?
You could think about it that way. Nix is very different than, I don't say very different, but is not containers.
Right.
And the way actually, and I get this question a lot because you have like GitHub code spaces that uses dev containers, and then we use Nix. And so people are kind of like, well, what's the difference? And then actually, I had to answer this question like when I was in Argentina. And I did like a really bad job of answering it. I was kind of like, you got like a thing over here, and that is got that thing, and then you got this one over here, and it doesn't. And everyone's like, okay. And so I had this engineer who was like, he explained this to me, and he was like, think about dev containers like node modules, or like containers in general, like node modules. You're basically taking the gigabytes of files, and you're saying like, let's put them all down on this big, big thing, the container. And so it's gigabytes or however. And then you can take that and you can move it wherever you want, and then it's nice shrink wrapped, it's ready to go when it gets plugged into its spot. That's like the benefit of containers. You can really say, hey, we put everything in here. With Nix, a Nix file, in our case, we have our own abstraction called dev.nix. That is like package JSON. It does not contain all your dependencies and everything like that. It's just the declarative, like I want Node 20. I want Python, whatever. I want Postgres. I want Docker, because you can even manage Docker within Nix. And from there, you're basically just saying, hey, when you run this whole Nix build environment, pull from this registry version, just like I'd do an npm install. And then now it's build this immutable, declarative, reproducible environment for everyone. But I didn't have to bring all of the big containers over with me, or I didn't have to put everything into the container all at once. If that makes sense.
Can I fork this and then get a bunch of funding to build the same thing?
I don't know why you would mention that.
It's ours now. We could
very
try.
interesting idea.
We're both a little old though. We're not in the YC demographic anymore.
So,
this episode is brought to you by Y Combinator.
I will say,
We'll give you money for any fucking thing.
properly forking something is not easy. Like, I think that I remember so many times in my career where like you have a fork of something and then you just can't get it synced, and then you kind of look at the code you have in your fork, and then you do that way of like, how much is in this fork is worth doing all of the git, like, magic and gymnastics I need to do to get it into main, versus just like stashing these files somewhere and then just applying like, oh, I repulled the fork and applied it. Oh no, who saw that? And so forking's forking's hard.
How
It's
I would
Robbie's
always do
favorite
it.
way to deal with merge conflicts is to just
anytime
take
there's
his
like
changes,
more than
copy,
one
paste.
thing, I'm just like, nope, I'm gonna like copy everything I changed, just reset it to the main, and like just apply it all again, because yeah, it's just not worth it. Like, and I know there's a lot of different, like, you know, hacks around that to where you can like not have to make it as hard, but still it's just like, it's just doesn't
You should
seem worth it.
learn. You should learn Git. I think that.
Should
in
you
this
use
new-
rebase or merge though?
Oh man, that's a great question.
No, it's not. There's only one right answer, unless you're
Yeah.
not senior.
Oh, you're gonna say rebase then, aren't you?
Why would you think that?
Only
would you
people
think
who
that?
say rebase are people who are like, oh, there's only one right. I've never met a merge person who's like, oh, there's only
yeah.
one right answer. Merge
That's
people
because
are
the
literally
merge
like,
people don't
yes.
understand rebase, and they're
Because
just
the
like,
merge
well, I don't
people
know
take
if
the
I
it's
knew you
first
were gonna
button
say that.
GitHub gives them, and they never learn anything else.
Yeah.
No.
That's what the merge people.
Merge people. Here's fine. Here's a little spicy take.
Or the
I
teammate.
like rebasing as well. Merge people though are people who want to get stuff done. Rebase people are people who want to make sure that everything looks. Oh, I'm sounding like Adam right now. Everything looks good. My L sock goes on my L foot, and my R sock goes on my right foot, and everything just is totally fine.
This string is a string, and then it's still a string, and now it's still a string, and guess what? It's still a string, but ignore the last little part where it wasn't a string for a second.
Yeah, we time
As string.
coerced for like 1 second in order to get it string
It-
true to true.
Rebasing
something
is,
like
is
that.
nice and it looks
Yeah.
really great, but I do think it's funny that the right decision, you know, the de facto right decision requires using a force push to
Well,
get it working. So
let
I
me ask
do
you this.
think there's a
Force
bit of a
with lease.
code
If you're-
Force with lease. By the
If
way.
you're writing
Not just force.
a paragraph of like just English, and you write a sentence, right? After you write that sentence, do you say, "Hey, I wrote that sentence"? Because if not, rebase.
No, but you could also like merging and squashing is also a very. I think that if you don't want to rebase, you can
squashing
merge
is
and
still
squash.
rebasing.
Yes,
there's-
but you
there's
don't have
nuance.
to rebase.
Yeah.
I'm talking about as far as practical use case goes, because I used
Sure,
to do work
okay.
on the Angular team, and it was a rebase culture. Like it was
Right.
scary. Every time I didn't care what my code did. I could be changing a README. I could be like doing whatever, like all advanced stuff. Anytime I had to do rebase, I was always like, oh no, because I was like, this is gonna be bad. And then like Jeff Cross, who works on Narwhal now, like, you know, NX fame, he used to sit next to me, and I'd literally be like, Jeff, I can't do it. Jeff, I can't do it. And he would like sit down and be like, we're gonna make it through this, buddy. And he'd be like, I'm like, I can hit the enter button now, and he's like, you can do it. He'd be like, "Just
I have a
those
Git
moments.
feature request. Okay, so in my experience, rebasing is particularly difficult because you don't. It should be called rebases because it's generally multiple rebases that you have to do, right? It's not just like, because what Robbie's saying is he kind of like to pull latest, like ignore all this shit that I've done. Git for 1 second. Would you just pull latest, ignore everything I've done, and
Try
then
to play it on
replot
to
my shit on top?
60 different commits.
Yep.
when you
Yeah,
wait
but what
too
it does
long.
is it does every single commit. It like kind of does a rebase check or something. And in case there's a merge conflict, it gives you this moment in this like sliver moment. And I'm like, look, I don't care. I want to pull. So my request is I'd like a rebase that kind of works like what Robbie's describing, which is just stash everything I have, all of my commits, just act like they don't exist. Pull latest. Get me
forward.
back up to fast forward and then replop on these things one by one. And I estimate in that scenario, there's way less conflicts than the amount of conflicts I get typically rebasing. That's the frustrating part with the rebase is you hit rebase and it says conflict. And you're like, what do you mean conflict?
Yeah.
I'm working on a file that's like totally somewhere else. And it goes, no, you're not. And you're like, oh, come on.
So I think this is completely uneducated on my part, and you guys might know better. But I heard the Primogen say this, so it's probably true. So there's like a
It's true. Where are we
Yeah, it's
talking?
like-
there's a re flag basically that you can just say like, if I fix these conflicts already, just take how I did that and apply it to like the next 30 commits that you're going to tell me are a
it
problem.
learns
Yeah.
through doing that.
And
so the
so
first
then
few
you can-
times you have that crap.
Yeah, so then you don't have to go like, I just fixed this, I just fixed this, I just fixed this, because it's like it
Right.
just applies that, which
Yeah.
is like still not exactly what you're asking for, but it's like better. And I've been scared to try it, so I haven't tried it myself. But I've heard that
That's like when you just take mine the whole time. You're like, dash, take mine, fuck theirs. Like, I want my code, whatever I've done
That's
in
the
my
actual
commits
flag.
is.
I have done that and been so screwed by that, where you're like, all my stuff is great, and then you like overlook something, and then you like check in some of those like Git lines where you're like, where it's like, you know,
Oops.
there's
Where it's
yours,
like-
and you're like,
Oops.
So Git Butler, Git CLI, GitHub Desktop, or Tower? How y'all rolling?
Depends. So
CLI.
I use GitHub Desktop everywhere I can, which means not at work. So I use Tower at work, and GitHub Desktop otherwise, because we use GitHub Desktop, or we use GitHub for like, you know, everything, because it's where open source is. But then like for work code, it's not, and it's scary. So I use Tower.
Tower. I use command line for everything because I got whipped into shape many years ago.
After you tortoised and after you mavened, or not maven,
Yeah.
what was the one start with an Mercurial? So you tortoised, you Mercurialed.
Yeah.
I used Beanstalk, was an app.
Beanstalk.
I used that too,
with
yeah.
for Sublime, I think it was, or what? Not Sublime, Subversion.
Yeah,
like
that was back when I was
Subversion
writing
and that.
PHP a little bit.
Whoa, PHP in the wild, wild west. So,
I
what's
use the
funny is
CLI.
that I don't care that much. I care about consistency. So if you merge commit, everybody does that. If you
Yeah.
rebase, everybody does that kind of thing. I do
Be
think
on the
it's
team.
It's a litmus test. Yeah, for sure, exactly. It's a litmus test to a degree, though, if you are willing to rebase or something, in my mind. And if you don't understand the get foo, boot.dev has a Git,
lame.
learn Git,
Slash
and advanced learn
whiskey,
Git.
not a code, won't get you any percent off.
Yeah, Primogen has he has a course on there about learning Git, so it's actually
Yeah,
funny.
slash prime, I think, is the actual one, or is it
I think
Primogen?
so. I think it's slash.
I think it's prime.
Yeah, he makes it
You know,
easy.
I have a hot take about what you just said, where you were saying that you're like, you know, it's just consistency. That's all that matters. That is literally what people say when they deeply hold an opinion, but want to like, you know, hedge a little on their opinionated nature, where they're like, listen, I think this is the one right way you should ever do anything. And if you don't, I think less of you as a developer. However, consistency is the key. But if you had to consistently be in a merge convid environment, I'm pretty sure you would go home and be like,
Oh, I've been there as a
you would-
consultant.
you would be
I have been
just
in many
pouring the
places that
whiskey.
I may or may not want to be, or completely agree with. But here's the funny thing, David, is I definitely have been in that place where I'm like, oh, I use these as tools to judge to a degree, and like have some sort of false sense of superiority because like, oh, I picked this thing and I liked it the best in these other projects, so apparently it'll make every project that same like panacea amazingness. And turns out that's a
that's
recipe
true.
for disappointment. So in my now older years, I really don't, like, honestly, like, yeah, I have preferences for myself, but in the grand scheme of things, like, I don't care that much. These are all tools.
Well, that's very
in my
healthy.
mind. Like,
Yeah.
I'm using these tools, and if it's not my favorite hammer, that's cool, but I still got to get the job done. Like,
Yeah.
earlier, I would pick Rails because I'm very interested in Rails right now and going down that path. But honestly, if you were like, Adam's like, hey, I'm starting this project and I want your help and like, let's do this thing. And he's like, I picked Laravel. I won't be like, well, fuck that. If you won't pick Rails with me, I'm not helping you.
Whatever, establish your dominance and show us how pro you are by shitting on
I'll just-
something, bro.
I'll
Come on,
just do
that's what
that.
everybody does. That's how you
I'll-
quick
Yeah.
rise, man.
No,
No,
I'll
it's
just
not
do
the
that
big
by
decisions.
chugging a bottle of whiskey with you, which I have done, and then I'll just arm wrestle you after. So,
It's not the big decisions that people can get behind. I feel like everyone can get behind big decisions, like, hey, we're gonna use Laravel, not Rails, or we're gonna use Next.js instead of Next or whatever. Everyone's gonna be like, okay, all right.
they hate
But
themselves.
but if you put in like someone's like, hey, we're kind of a
Are you drinking Fresco
tubes-
right now, Adam?
He is.
I've switched to the mix. Yeah, so I did the straight
We
whiskey.
mixed it.
I had a couple fingers of that. Yeah, so I had like 4 fingers of just straight whiskey. Then I
That's what
dropped
she said.
in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is streaming crap. Sorry.
Oh, oops, can't edit that out. And then I dripped in some purified water in the next one. Got a alternative flavor palette, and now I'm on the whiskey just to sort of like cleanse the palate. The kids are coming home. I don't want to. Better have whiskey on the breast or peach fresco on the breast.
Oh, now we got
Ooh,
a special
peach
guest.
Fresca?
Every time a dog comes
Meow.
on, it must
Oh, that's a dog.
be addressed.
Yeah, he
Oh,
thinks
I
he's a
see.
cat though.
This
Wait,
is
what's
his
the
interview.
dog's?
Oh.
What's the dog's name?
Jake.
Jake. Oh, whoa.
Jake the dog. Hey, and Finn the human.
Jake
Right
the
on,
snake.
I
bro.
wanted a Frenchie. Like I have two dogs, and I have 200
He's a
pounds.
Kool-Aid man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she is. I have a Kool-Aid man. I have a dog who I call the Kool-Aid man because
Oh,
she.
yeah.
I have these
Bust
French
through the wall?
doors that are right there, and then anytime I do anything, she will just like plow through, and she's like, "Oh yeah!" And it's just like,
That's amazing.
no matter how many days it happens, it still scares me so much. And then I have these like locks up at the top. And then I one time like locked it because like I didn't want kids running in, and then I just heard her go, and the door just stopped, and I felt so deeply bad in my soul. So now those doors never get shut because I never know when she's gonna come and pop in, and I'm like, she's a 6-year-old Bernese Mountain Dog. The last thing she needs is like a
She can
concussion.
knock that
so.
door down. She really wants. Let's be honest.
She is. She's the light one.
Freight
She's
trains.
85.
Yeah.
I have my young guy. He's 115 pounds.
Oh wow.
He's a beast.
Have they been
like a
swimming
third of
around
Robbie's
with all
weight.
the rain that's going on?
They will not, to get them to go outside in the rain is like you literally have to like be like,
Yeah. Why are
"Come on,
Bernices so scared of like weather and stuff?
we can do this, let's
They're
go."
mountain dogs.
They are.
Yeah, it's
They-
weird. It's weird.
They don't like adverse weather. They like the snow, but they don't like adverse conditions of anything at all. So yeah.
Yeah, ours are the same. We came home to like 100 poops in the house after, but we left them with a dog sitter, but she just like could not get them to go outside to go to the bathroom. I was just
Oh,
like,
interesting.
all right,
Do you-
this is not great. But
Do you know that like a Roomba, like vacuum or any one of those? One time my 6-year-old Bernese Mountain Dog, when she was little, she pooped inside, and the Roomba went just right over. And then the Roomba was like, it was like a Humvee. It was just literally like, and like, got it real good. Like those things are made for, like, you would think that they couldn't do it, but no, it got it. And then it was like,
did?
you know what I'm going to do now?
It sucked it up.
It didn't suck it up. It just spread
just
it
got on it.
all
yes.
over.
Yeah,
And you know
shoot.
what? They're very good at getting through the whole room. So we came downstairs
good
and it
coverage.
was, yeah. And I was like, it did the job.
It
Can't
did
be
what was
mad.
asked.
Yeah.
But did you
exactly.
clean it or did you?
Oh
replace
yeah,
it?
this is like the actual carpet in the basement of my
Oh
old
right,
house.
right. But the Roomba.
Oh,
the Roomba
no.
was
Oh, the
from that
Roomba
shit.
was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
it
it.
didn't. It
There's
had
no way
no
you're
will
getting it
to
out of
live.
there.
It was asking me to be let. It was like, I can't live
Remove
anymore.
my battery.
Please.
This smells like shit.
Yeah, I had to put the Roomba down. It asked for it to be over.
That makes sense. That's a bummer.
So I do want to find out, because we only have a few minutes left, what's up with CSS4 and CSS5?
Oh yeah. Okay. Nice. That's a good question. So we're pretty much done creating the sections of those. There's a whole community group called the CSS Next community group. We've been bucketing these things and putting them into different spaces for months. We went through every single CSS property and decided if it was 3, 4, 5, or if it wasn't even ready for a bucket yet. That's pretty
CSS
official.
6.
I can give a CSS 6. It's going to be there. I mean, it's kind of we're at the like the tipping point of it right now.
Nice.
And then what emerged out of that like we didn't expect was everyone's like, well, what are we going to do with the CSS3 shield? And we're like, well, you should burn it. You should that thing should never get used again. And they're like, well, cool, we're great. Raw, yeah, burn it. But hey, what do we show instead? And we're like, I don't know. And so we've been working on a logo. So now we got a logo. We have a CSS logo that's trying to be the best logo that it can inside of something like VS Code. So right next to JS, you'd have a CSS logo. So it looks like it's in the family. Same with TS and WebAssembly and a couple of other ones. And then we're also coming up with these additional logos that have numbers on them. And all that work is really going good. We have a PR that we're about to open up on the proper CSS working group repo, which claims that there will never be a CSS4, but we will make an addendum that said they were wrong 10 years ago. There is a CSS4 and a CSS5. Here's a new document published on the specs that describe these new buckets. And so they're basically like, we didn't want to do the work, or we didn't think anyone would care about the work. Turns out people care about the work. We don't want to do it. Y'all want to do it? You want to do it? Oh, great. Here, they're doing it over here, and they're going to bring it in. And so that's kind of where we're at. It's about to be brought in. And yeah, it'll help us talk about stuff. It'll help us make cool posters or make good resume entries. Yeah.
Can I get a sticker or shirt yet? That's the important question.
Yeah.
The base logo just kind of, and I wouldn't even say it's like 100% done, but the base logo just hit a very stable release candidate this week, and the logo with numbers is undergoing multiple revisions. We've had an RC1 and an RC2. I really like the RC2. It's kind of like the same. It's like a square. It's got CSS in it, and it has a number at the top with a long shadow.
Is there a badge
And it's,
we can put on our,
nice.
our websites? Do you remember, like, back in the day, would
yeah.
be like
HTML5
WC3 correct or whatever it would be that you put on? You'd be like, yeah, I'm not using random divs, but now I am using random divs again. So it's like, comes around full circle. But it used to be the thing where you were like, this is not a table layout website. It's W3C certified using real HTML.
Yeah, they looked at it.
Yeah. But it
They
made me
did.
feel like
It
I
went
was
through the
doing
HTML validator.
Yeah. Exactly.
I got graded on that in college. Like whether your HTML doesn't validate, you're gonna lose points.
I'm impressed that they did that. They went as far as that.
Yeah, me too.
You went to a good school.
Do
Must
you
not
have to
been in
jump at
Virginia.
them?
Sorry, it's like C made a square. I think some kids just arrived, but I got some time. Let me see if I can pull up the
I didn't
GitHub
know if your
repo for
hard
this.
stop was like important meeting that could not be missed, or like
he
what it
was
was.
Oh
thinking
crap!
this
It
was gonna
is.
be
Wait,
really-
I do have a meeting at 3 p.m. Yes, you're right.
Okay.
I do have a work thing. Here's the repo with the status of the logo ish. Oh shit, that is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Whiskey
so
will do
funny.
that,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Folks at home, it is GitHub.
Oh, it's just having so much fun.
CSS dash next forward slash.
We'll do this
CSS
again because we got to like none of the questions I wrote down, so we can do another.
We
one.
Oh
didn't run
man,
out of
I had
cereal
so
and
many
soup.
silly.
Will
Yeah, I
you
know.
send us whiskey this time though? Next time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How
Oh,
about
let's
we
do it.
sponsored by CSS?
Are you bad at
CSS can send us
CSS
whiskey.
and whiskey choices? That's what I want to know. I want to be surprised for once. I'm always doing the procurement of, and what if Robbie and I are like, we're going to send it in?
I think we should do a CSS for whiskey barrel pick.
Okay.
Let's make CSS cool again.
Will
let's
Google pay for it?
let's put the CSS logo on some whiskey bottles and ship them to everyone we know.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right.
That is a good idea. It's kind of like the coffee folks. They're like, JavaScript is really cool. People love saying nil and null and shit. So let's make a coffee brand. It ships out. It says null and shit. Yeah.
Terminal coffee.
Yeah.
Terminal Coffee. Is that the brand?
And
Yeah.
they're all
branding is
retired
good. I
now,
mean,
so
it's-
yeah, it must
Yeah,
work.
they all retired.
Hey,
They have
it's a
Landos, they
legit
have
play.
orange
I know.
Landos.
I'm making fun of them, but obviously I'm a little jelly. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, you just want to write some Go code so you can have like a shell store, right? Like they did.
I just want people to respect me that I actually write a code language. Oh my goodness.
So terminal UIs, right? Do you have opinions on TUIs and
On
like,
TUIs. Yeah. TUIs, GUIs, and NUIs.
I've
Yeah.
got threes.
TUIs are cool because like they've come back. I'm like into it now. I didn't really get it until like there was a reference to like how much business is still run on TUIs, and I remember when I worked for an airline like 25 years ago. And that's what it was. It was like a 1970 terminal, and you had all these
Yeah.
keystrokes to get
Still
around
is,
and do random.
especially
shit.
if you're Southwest.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Southwest is on the TUI. So it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. There's whole like library. At least the terminal app is in Go, and it uses I forget the name of the like TUI library, but it's like Candy something, or I don't know. But it's really neat actually, and they were able to like do these layouts and all this stuff in that. Like that's kind of cool. It's not CSS, but it is thinking about UIs in a different context.
Yeah.
UIs, we can't get around them. People want to think they're dumb, but it's like a distinct. I saw someone the other day tweeted, "It's unfair when a service has good design. It's just unfair."
Yeah, it's just.
And I was like,
It's the standard.
wrong.
Yeah.
That
Well, but you have conversely, like there are some things that become so necessary that in spite of themselves, they do really well, right?
Yeah.
like, you know, the
Sponsored
initial
by
Craigslist.
AWS.
Yeah.
Yeah, sponsored by
Yeah, sponsored by AWS.
Yeah.
No, if Craigslist
Exactly.
ever updated their UI, I'm pretty sure they go bankrupt in like the matter.
Oh, man,
of
people
hours.
would freak.
I don't think so
Yeah.
because, like, here's the thing: anybody spending real AWS money does not use the console to manage any
I said
of their
Craigslist.
He
infrastructure.
said Craigslist. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Craigslist.
but
yeah.
Yeah, if
Sorry.
Craigslist
But I
ever
agree,
changes
everybody's
the
pinging
look,
the
people are
APIs,
like,
yeah.
I'm being fished. This isn't
Oh.
real.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Craigslist is like it's
I'm
like
gonna-
it's a
I'm gonna
commodity.
do
It's
the
an
open
industry.
source Craigslist that isn't ugly.
I think they're using Next.js though, aren't they?
Yeah, 15. It's bleeding edge.
That
too,
makes everything good. Yeah, that's
React compiler
Yeah,
and
just
server
ask Dax.
components and
Yeah.
yeah, just ask Dax. That's not. His
They're like
current
it's
sponsor.
a for loop and a PHP script. They're like that's what we're using.
I've got two things before Adam can go. First of all, yeah, I want to recognize that. Did you see that banter between Guillermo and Dax, where he was like,
No.
Yeah.
Guillermo said like Dax's new sponsor, Cloudflare.
Have you listened to their podcast where he talks about it? Because oh my
Not
god,
yet.
you got to. I just listened to it today.
Yeah, it came out like 2 days ago or something, and
Yeah.
I it's been in my queue, so I really want to. But yeah, he puts this post and is like, "Motherfucker, are you talking about having like paid sponsorships right now? Like how much drama with Vercel that has been?" And then he's like, "Well, that was that was a little rash, and how about we both delete our tweets if you want?" And then nothing happened, so that got left. So there's that beef there. But Adam, have you ever traveled with a guitar or banjo?
I have driven. I've driven with guitars and
Playing it on
banjos.
the plane.
I have skateboards and one wheels. I would though. I have a hard shell case that would be capable of
Would you
traveling
check
with such
it
things.
or carry
Yeah.
it on?
I would.
Yeah.
Well, I think they'd let you carry on a guitar, right? They're kind of
They
respectful
do,
for
but
those.
that guy is a dick. Everyone's like, you took up the entire fucking thing up top.
I'm gonna be
Yeah,
You're
I'll be in
getting
business class. I'll be in business. It won't matter. I'll be pre-seated looking at you on my cell phone with my headphones going, just walk.
Yeah.
Just walk on by.
brought
That's
3
mine.
guitars.
I
I
think
brought
that's what you're
all of
saying
it
is I should upgrade and then I can do whatever I want because I just need
Yeah.
it one way going
Yeah.
to Virginia. I have a banjo that my brother gave me, but it's right-handed. First of all, I
Maybe
can't play
just
the guitar.
ship it.
I can't.
Ship it anyway, like just ahead of time. Just ship it UPS. Like,
I felt like trying to do that was almost worse. Like, what kind of packaging would I have to get? What would it cost? Because it'll be really big. At that point, like, pay extra on the airline. You know? I don't know.
It sounds like the beginning of a song where like you start your monologue and then Adam starts the.
I'm getting the vibe that this
Sponsored
meeting was
by-
not that important.
I told them I'll be right there. I told them I'll be right there.
Do they know this is live streaming right now? They're all
Yeah, they're
watching it. They're
watching
like,
it.
Yeah, yeah. Penny is smart enough to probably know where I am. But it's gonna be fun. We're talking about data tables, a data list, a data table. Here, I'm gonna make this relevant. That way, when I show up, I'm like,
Can
I
you
was just talking
patch
with the
us
community
into
about
the
this.
meeting?
Yeah.
And we'll just all chat about it.
yeah, can you just like, yeah, exactly. Bring up and share.
We want to make a proper data list, like how many, or data table. How many times you made a data table? You want to sort it. You want to filter it. You want all these kind of headlines. You basically the table element is great at showing 10 pieces of data. Yeah, as soon as it's more than 10, it's a piece of shit, and we want to fix that. We'd like you to be able to show more than 10 pieces of data in a meaningful and accessible way that can be paginated, that can be filtered and sorted without a ginormous library, as well as like virtualized lists. So that's what the meeting's about. It should be kind of cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah, let
Yeah,
me.
I mean, that seems
let
like
me
a
ask a
valid
related
problem.
question. What does it do if you have 100 items, you paginate, and you click the next page? Does it scroll to the top?
It's virtualized.
I would imagine it scrolls to the top. That's pretty normal for pagination when you click next, but I don't know, maybe
Okay.
maintain scroll
'Cause I
position
have
and
that
just
problem
hot swaps
in
the
my
nodes.
app
I
at
don't
work
know.
right now.
Oh,
you do?
Well,
Yeah.
you
I
just
have
don't
100
have it
items,
next.
and I was
Scroll
like,
up,
page
or-
2, and it's like, you're still at the bottom. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I can manually scroll it, but like, that sounds
no,
gross.
it's
like,
bad.
yeah.
No, you,
There's a great JS API for that. After render, you can just say scroll to this element or scroll to 0 of the data. I mean, that's not a hard problem to solve, basically. Is what I'm
No,
saying.
I can do it. I'm just like, I feel like I shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't, which you know, and I'm about to make your life harder if you want to do this, but I've done this before and it was not easy. I used to work on the Firestore console back in the day, and so we had to be able to handle like, you know, whatever amount of records. And so basically, yes, what Adam's talking about would be of great use. So having something that's already virtualized, check, you need that. But the thing that's very difficult is no, we don't have like pages of data. You can just scroll, and so you chunk, and so you have to do loading chunk, which is cursing, and so you have to be like from this one to this one, and then when you get to a certain intersection observer, at some point you're like, okay, it's time to load the next chunk, and so you kind of have like your chunk needs to have enough buffer that you're kind of guessing that. An eager scroller is going to beat you. You don't want to chunk that much to beat an eager scroller, but a normal scroller, even like somewhat fast of a scroller, you kind of figure out what your chunk level is on that.
Well, not to throw anyone under the bus, but that was my suggestion, and I was told it must be paginated with page numbers, not scrolled.
Okay. Well, you know what?
And so that throws that out the window.
Like that
You
too,
live and
though.
you learn, and then you
Right.
get loves.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
That's
here's
what
my
mom
spicy
always said.
take. I'll leave with is I've written so many virtualized list views, so many,
Yeah.
and still to this day, the best API and the best one I've ever used was by Windows 8 on their WinJS framework for the
Oh, yeah.
Windows 8 platform, and it was called the list view. It is seriously still, and it was made to work on really low performing hardware.
Yeah.
The API in it is absolutely delightful. It had multiple ways to integrate with it, but I always went the programmatic way and would just like build my nodes, and it would pass you data. It would pass you data. You returned with a template. And it would already create a placeholder for you. It would create skeletons for you. You didn't have to worry about that shit. It knew that it wasn't ready, and it was just virtualized. So you could spin it forever on low hardware, and the hardware was just like, I'm not drawing anything. I'm a moron, and you're going really fast. So I'm not even going to call the calls that ask to render this thing. And so then eventually, as it slows down, it decides that it's in a good state, and it would ask you to render, and you would return DOM nodes, put them right. Dude, it was amazing. It could do grouped list views. It could do list views. It could do like lists. It could do groups. It was extremely flexible, and then it also had semantic zoom. Sezo, you could just pinch and see the whole thing. Dude, anyway, I'm going to leave that as a spicy. I haven't seen a better list view implementation since then. And honestly, the first time I ever saw React was React saying, we can be your infinite list. And I tried it, and that was the thing I thought it could be the best at in terms of its component model and the way that it did virtual DOM. Is I was like, you know what? This is a strong use case for this thing. And then people started building websites with it, and I got real pissed. So anyway,
Yeah.
and then people
All
make
right.
so
That's what you're gonna plug before we end, right? Is WinJS list view. Anything else you want to plug?
WinJS list view. Everybody go try
Go
that
build
framework
sites
out.
with
It's great.
React. Build it with WinJS list view. That's what Adam wants you to know.
Oh man, there were so many hot topics we didn't get to that I wanted to bring up. Like, why does JS get all the tooling? CSS has, or not? It gets all the money. Like, there's millions of dollars being
Those are on
tossed
my
into JS
list.
tooling.
We should do this again, like, honestly, next week. We'll talk, but we could do
We'll do
a
a
part two.
We
Yeah.
can do a part two.
All right, real talk. All right, I'm gonna go and be responsible. It's 13 minutes after.
Cool. Yeah.
Smell y'all later. Thanks. That was fun.
Oh God. Okay.
That
on that
was
note.
great. That was
Yeah.
great.
Is there anything you would like to plug, David, before we end? Is there a podcast that you record at all that people could find?
No, not at all.
No?
Not one you
All
want
right.
to hear.
No, definitely
It's
not.
basically
that.
practice.
No, those are just for fun. Nope. No. I mean, yeah, if you wanna be, if you're bad at CSS and you wanna continue to be bad at CSS, then come join the Bad at CSS podcast. That's there it is, the podcast.
I would say that it's very like. Hopefully, you don't take offense to this. Similar to what we do here.
Oh no, there's no
and,
offense taken.
and that it's like pretty unstructured. There's some technical content, but it's just you and Adam shooting the shit, having fun. Like, it's very entertaining. I've listened to most of them at this point, so
Every now and then you
Yeah.
get like a serious guest on, and then you're like, okay, we gotta get this
We better get it
on rails. Okay,
It's
like,
Eric Meyer. We better get
yes,
it
like when
together.
Eric and
Yeah.
Estelle showed up, you're like, okay, all right, here's the script, and you're like, actually, they were phenomenal, but yeah, and there's a couple more that I have in the hopper and that I need to get through, and that I'm very excited about. We had Miriam Suzanne on the other week, and that was just like an absolute joy, and that was one where I was like, put my best face on, because oh my god, that was like a masterclass.
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, we're not that serious. I've tried to get Brendan Ike on here, and he doesn't reply to me. So,
You gotta reach out. You never know. Every now and then they're gonna be like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, let's do
Yeah.
it. So
yeah,
you just gotta
be
reach out.
persistent. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you got whiskey in there. Eventually, one person's gonna be like, well, I do like whiskey,
I do like
and
Yeah.
I do like web.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
related to the drama we talked about, we sent Guillermo whiskey, and he ghosted us and never came on the podcast.
Yeah, that's true. That was
You should
how
have
many
sent him
personal
for net.
assistants? Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
We sent him. He said he liked Japanese whiskey. We sent him a cool
that's
one,
really good.
and he was like, actually, I realized you guys maybe shit on React a lot. Like he didn't say that, but he was like,
was like, I
I'm
don't think he would
busy.
say
I
that."
can't. Like, well, he didn't even say
Well,
anything.
he
his,
didn't
his
say
like
anything. His
secretary.
personal assistants. We went.
Yeah.
We went through 2 personal assistants. That's how long we tried
Yeah.
to make this work with him.
You didn't get through my personal assistants? They
we did,
were in contact with
and
you?
it was very immediate.
What?
They were like, "Here is his social security number, credit card numbers."
This is
Like,
what I
he's
tell them to do
very
with everyone.
accessible.
I said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
listen,
Be
anytime
accommodating.
anyone asks any questions about me at all, schedule, favorite
Yeah.
color, just send them all my personal identifiable information. That way I won't have to put up with all these
trust-
questions later.
Yeah, I trust
Yeah.
people. You know, they could just find the information about me, my
Listen,
net worth.
it's all on the
everything.
dark web.
Yeah.
You know, it's already out
Yeah,
there. You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
If I gave you my social security number, like, do you think that you're gonna make the effort to, like, you know, impersonate me? You know how much work that's involved? Like, you know how many packages you need to return to Amazon that you haven't done yet, or like emails you need to respond to? Like, you're gonna go out there and pretend to be me. You know?
Oh yeah,
Just so
I get those
like I can freeze my account.
notifications that are like, you know, oh, your data is all out in a leak. I'm like, okay, like, what are they gonna do with it? Like, do you want a lot of debt? Steal my identity. Let's go. Like,
So-
you know,
Boy.
Someone's like,
Like-
we stole his identity and now we have so many problems. He seems to be very happy about this.
Why do
Yeah, like,
all the
please
credit
do,
cards
so I
I
can
open
be
get
like-
declined?
I could be like, my house. I don't even own that. Like, I don't know who this.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God. Okay. Well, we should probably wrap this up. Yeah, for real. Anything else you want to plug or say before we
No,
end? Or?
man, this was awesome. I appreciate you coming, you know, having me on. You know, I got to get through our episode too. I'm way too much of a edit freak to like just to push it.
Just
I should do
YOLO
that,
it.
but I
Oh,
don't.
I get it.
I do.
That's
I look
the
at them
problem.
and I
That's
go,
why I like this streaming too.
yes,
Is like
it forces you.
if you've streamed it, then people have already seen it in the raw state. So fuck it. Like you don't have to be extra
Yes.
perfect about like.
Yeah, it's
But
only
yeah.
gonna like just be polish on that too.
I know.
Yeah.
And here I am and being like, you rebase pushers, like
Yeah.
you're perfectionists.
like
and
so
meanwhile,
much
I'm like, my
rebase.
podcast list is piling up because I'm like, those cuts they need to be just right. Ah, gosh.
Do we have to do some reshoots? Is that what you're saying? We
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
Get
yeah.
in
Oh,
and
God.
put on for continuity's sake. Put on the same
Yeah.
thing. Don't shave for
Well,
a few days. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll
it
get
was,
you guys back
whatever.
next week, and
Let's
we'll
do it.
We'll have Adam do all the same stuff too, and he'll have to leave right at the hour. And
I'll come
You know, you
late.
could definitely
I'll
get
come
him for a
15
meeting.
minutes late. That'll
Yeah,
be.
with the echo.
Yeah.
With the echo as well.
oh yeah, you got to turn on.
I know
echo
how to
mode,
turn it
yeah.
on and off now, so we can have the echo anytime you
Yeah.
want.
Good.
God,
good.
that's
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe more like this. Do you hear yourself?
Oh God, no!
How
Don't
is
do
it?
it.
I thought you were
What
joking.
about now? What about now?
I'm sorry
Video
to
call
Adam
version.
and the folks at Podcast Royale. If you want your podcasts produced by a nice producer, check out Podcast Royale.
Yeah. What about this one?
They're gonna have
This
fun
was
with this
interesting.
one.
How's this
Yeah.
sound to you?
What your general sound?
Yeah.
It
I
sounds
switched
good.
to a different
Yeah,
version.
you sound great.
Maybe
Yeah.
even better. Maybe
I
this is
think-
the one for me.
I think it sounds good. I don't know what it was about the previous one that had a little bit of weird sound. Maybe it was just like it was the UK version. Just
Yeah.
got to sound a little weird, but
Yep.
like it sounds good now. No
It's
complaints.
because I didn't have the right accent, right?
Yeah.
Let's have some fish and chips. All right.
All right, I'm gonna stop this. Thanks everyone for listening. If you liked it, please subscribe. You're gonna hear some other shit after this from whatever. We're done.
This episode is brought